Hey
Good.
y'all, how you doing?
Good. How about yourself?
How are
Good.
you?
I'm good. Good to see you. I am Carla Renata, the Curvy Film Critic, and listen, I was in love with this project for a variety of reasons. I love how you guys kind of melted real life history with fiction and made it work in a way that was very interesting and inspiring to watch. So I'd like to know from both of you, what was the impetus in doing that? Was it that way in Essie's book, or did you guys just tell me? I want to know all the things, and we'll start with Kimberly.
So we took some creative liberty, with it. But I will say the DNA, the heart, is pulled from that book, and the trust is there, and someone can definitely speak to that of his conversation with Essie. But we took the DNA and made that the spine of this series. And so for us, again, having her trust in her baby, I think allowed us to do our job and really deliver on our end.
Yeah, no, I think that is absolutely well said. In our early, conversations, I told Essie like adaptation changes things, right? And and I write with a destination in mind, but not a route, right? So I couldn't predict the way it would go, but I was like, but I can promise you, we're going to land a plane on the same runway, and I hope you can trust me to do that. And she did. And then that destination, just in the writing in the room, just became amazing. And the point you make about history, it's a show that's historical in its nature with these fantastical elements. But so it's like, where can we weave in this idea of known history with the stuff that we create to land on the themes that we're telling? So we had a lot of fun, doing that, and I hope people respond.
I loved that. That was one of the things that I really, really loved about it because I'd never really seen it done to that degree before and so creatively. So I really dug it. I really, really dug it. The other thing I want is there was this line where somebody says, "Water has no enemies, only friends." I'm a enemy of water because I'm not trying to be in anything where my feet can't touch the bottom. And black people have a history with water, so I'm just trying to figure out from you two, has your relationship with water changed coming out on the other side of this project? And I'll start with you, Selwyn, this time.
It's so interesting. There's so many like subtleties. Like some people will catch, some they won't. I'll speak to this specifically. So where I'm from, the country of Guyana, the name itself means land of many waters, right? So water as a metaphor is part and parcel of this. If you watch the Pirate Ship episode with the character Barrington, he has this whole like monologue he does about the kinds of water. He's talking about my country, right? And it's not on the head, but people will get it in a really like subtextual way. Wash's line, and Kit says this too, or Essie says it later, to Kit. That is obvious. Well, not obviously. That's the title of a Fela song, right? Water got no enemy, right? So I'm a DJ and I play a lot of Afrobeat, but also Fela is such a symbol of resistance and of Black resistance that it's a way to kind of thread things without waving a sign about it, right? So when he says water has no enemies, only friends, like that is conjuring up decades and decades and decades of post-British colonial Black resistance in West Africa. So there are just all kinds of layered things in there. You may catch them, or some brilliant writer like you will tell people they exist, and that's some of the fun you have with a TV show.
Well, I think something a bit similar to Tana. There's a few moments where you see Tana, she goes into water and it's a chance to kind of reconnect with herself, reconnect with her home, with her mother, because she's from the Solomon Islands, and to be in water, like floating like she did as a child, it kind of brings her back to home. And there's also something about like in real life and shooting, we were in Nova Scotia, and we did this scene where I'm in the ocean in Nova Scotia in the icy cold water. But I loved it. It does like kind of bring you back to like into yourself, and also kind of being in something much vaster than you and life-giving, and to be weightless. And yeah, I really like being in water too. I find something similarly great about it. Yeah.
I love being in water. I love being in the sea. I'm a terrible swimmer, but I like sort of bobbing around. But I think this show is sort of like, there is this sort of central theme of like water is like it traverses the globe, but there's always this thing of water. Even my character, who maybe, he sort of, it doesn't seem like he's around that much water. He at some point has traveled the Atlantic on a boat, and they've all been close to it, and it's affected all of their lives in so many ways. So it was so nice to sort of like be in something that felt so connected with water.
I didn't know I was going to get that deep of an answer, but okay, Selwyn, you went all the way deep into the roots for that answer. I'm like, okay, snaps and claps for you, honey. Snaps and claps for you.
Oh my God.
There was another moment where later on in the series where one of the characters, in the confines of slavery, children would be moved off of plantations, never to be seen or heard from again, let alone see them grow up. And one of the characters says, "You're the first one I've ever seen grown."
Gaius.
That, for whatever reason, hit me in a visceral place. And I want to know what was behind that. Was it what I just said, or was it something else? I'll let Kimberly speak to that if you might.
Yeah, I think that was a reality check for the audience to just realize how special what he has done, what Wash has done, and this journey for him to get to this point really was. That you have Gaius, someone who has worked on this plantation, never seen a child turn to adult. I mean, that was even bringing that back up to me. I'm like, that was a moment. And that was actually one of those moments as we're watching the cuts that every time it really got me, because that's the truth. That's the reality. And so, those moments, those are just kind of reset moments to just like breathe and have us reflect of like how far he has actually come, how far we have actually come. So yeah, definitely those lines are definitely in there, and they make you think.
Yeah, it made me think. It hit me. I was like, ooh.
Catching lines. I love it.
Listen, I am that girl. I am the one, honey. But but another thing that I caught too is that when we talk about code switching, oftentimes we're talking about Black people doing it. In this series, there's a white dude that's doing it. Played the guy who's playing McGee. He's literally code switching to make things work in his favor. I want to know, was that in the book as well, or was that something that you guys kind of added in?
Later on in the process, it occurred to us that maybe there's a way we can complicate this character so he feels like this interesting doppelganger to Wash. And one of my writers literally one day said, "What if McGee is not McGee?" We were like, "What does that mean? What are you talking about?" And he pitched this idea that I'm like, that's brilliant, because now you have sort of like two people in Wash and McGee who come from two very different kinds of messed up, like, circumstances, and sort of like use the tools available to them to sort of get to a better place in life. No matter what judgment you make about how they get there, but there's something that's a real sort of like echo between the two characters, and the fact that those are the two men that are seeking Tana's affection just made it all kind of work. So,
did you see McGee is code switching?
Absolutely. He's always code switching. He's desperate to fit in so many different ways. And I think as the show goes along, you find really how much he's trying to fit in, and what he's covering up. And I think that leads to this really, what's a really interesting crux of his character is that he believes that he is fitting in the same way that Tana is, and he tries to bond with her on that. And although there is sort of like maybe potential there for that to be a bond, I think it's part of his learning process of understanding the world that they live in, that actually, even though he is being someone he's not and has come from sort of humble backgrounds, maybe, he still is a white man. And that's a completely different lived experience back then as it is today. And that's sort of the beginning, you feel, of Billy maybe learning about the world that he lives in instead of just turning a blind eye to it.
Washington Black was the bomb.
You are so much fun to talk to at any time.
Thank you. I'll see you next time.
All right.
Bye.
Hold up. Wait a minute. I wish you love, peace, and hair grease.
Love, peace, and hair grease, y'all.